Is there anyone want to ask something from the audience? No, well, maybe I'll start then. The panel is meant to talk about the culture of innovation. Yeah. So how and this is like the joining of the banking industry and the fintech industry, and so maybe Mario, if we can start with you, how do you in your company? I mean, you have probably a number of people or many people working, and you're for 10 years already. So how do you manage to foster this culture of innovation to keep it running? What do you do to keep it?
Well, I think it's a mixture of things. Firstly, it's looking at what's going on, at the trends that are out in the market, looking at what competitors are doing, looking at what someone is not doing, and at the same time talking to our clients directly. We really value direct interaction, not like only statistical data that we gather from customers, but really true direct feedback, conversations with them, and that pinpoints us sometimes what we're not doing right, or sometimes uncovers certain pain points that the clients have. And I would say, all those things taken together kind of lead you to the solutions that you need to build.
Okay, yeah. So listening to clients, and Rugilė, you are a public institution, but Invest Lithuania is probably one of more successful public institutions in Lithuania. So, what do you do? How do you look for innovative ways of doing business? How do you foster this culture of innovation in your organization?
Thank you very much, first of all, for these kind of words and recognition. So I think, indeed, at Invest Lithuania, we are very much customer-focused, especially within our department, because we are facing customers directly. We are traveling to the conferences to meet these CEOs of FinTech companies that we want to attract to the Lithuania, and meeting these international investors. Of course, we have to adapt to their style. We have to meet kind of their expectations, that they would agree to have a meeting with us, first of all, and have the courage and go and talk to them and tell them about this Lithuania that they never heard about, how Lithuania will provide them so many more benefits than Netherlands or Ireland will do. So it's just incremental, I think. We just have to do it. Otherwise, there's no way that we would be able to talk to those innovative fintech companies of the world.
Yeah, so again, both of you are saying that innovation is about listening to clients, right? So it's not about having a bunch of really of these Generation Z people who are coming up with crazy new ideas. It's about listening to clients, right? Okay, Agnė, what is your take? How do you keep innovation wheel running?
Both, because we do employ people who are curious and who do want to change the world, but then we ask them to talk to the clients as well. So it's not only about employees or the clients, it's both. And we try to challenge the people to think from other perspective. And we have a lot of people who are not from finance, not from banking, but they're very good at other things, and they merge the skills, and that's how innovation happens. And they talk, and we do try and facilitate the talks and discussions, even if they're not the best ones or like the most convenient ones.
If I may add,
yes, please. Yes,
maybe just one minor kind of thing, which we started prioritizing in our day-to-day work, because there's always like the obsession with just getting things done, and with our IT team, there's always like a push, like for them the value they feel they are contributing is when they write a piece of code that works, and we started encouraging them like to think, sit down, like, and think. That is also work, because if you sit down for an hour and you don't do anything, for an IT developer, that's a torture, and they feel that they are not working. But this is when some good ideas get born.
Yeah, great. Time for thinking. Yeah, but well, you Mario, and you, Agnė, you've had a significant experience in the UK. I'm sorry, if Rugilė, at least my search didn't reveal something, so please forgive me if you also have that. But are Lithuanians innovative people here in Lithuania compared to people in the UK? Are people in Lithuania innovative? Because you have experience also in the UK, and you know London. You studied your business in London. So where did you see more innovation? And how do you find that in people?
It's probably hard to generalize. I'm reluctant really to state that one country or the other is kind of more innovative. I mean, Lithuanians are used to better standards. I would just say that, like, you know, if we look at, I don't know, housing conditions, you know, in the UK, it's acceptable to live in a pretty poor state. In Lithuania, you have the standard. So same thing goes for some technological products as well.
Agnė?
From my perspective, I would say it's a bit of a difference how things are done and how innovation happens. So the experience from what I did in the UK was more about planning, and you do a lot of planning, and then you get to the point where you build a product that is more resilient, and it's been tested a lot of time before you launched it. Well, in Lithuania, I would say people are very curious, and there's a lot of people who don't necessarily have a lot of experience, but they want to get things done, and they want to touch, and they want to make mistakes and do the risky things as well. And then it leads to that sometimes products, you launch them and then you test them and then you develop a better version of that as well. So I think I wouldn't generalize as well, like if these are one or the others are more innovative, but these are totally different approaches, what we have from at least my experience in the UK and here.
No, thank you. No, I know my question was provocative, and on purpose. You know, it's 5 o'clock, so or almost 6. But you know, maybe what? How do you tell? I mean, here we have people on both sides of the screen. We have people from various businesses, and every business wants innovative people. And when you hire, how do you tell? I know Invest Lithuania also wants innovative people. So how do you tell? What are, let's say, 3 qualities you're looking for in the people who are about to join your team? Let's start from Rugilė.
That's a good question. Actually, we're currently recruiting as well. So if you find some some good people,
so who are you looking for?
So I think, you know, the most important qualities is kind of probably, I guess, entrepreneurial spirit. Like, you know, not to wait somebody to tell you how to do things, but just being self-made and go and do it. Of course, being innovative, so that's a very difficult, you know, definition of this word. I think, you know, being able to look outside of the box and look for different solutions in very different situations, even when you think that you face the wall and there's nothing you can do. And finally, what else? I guess proactivity, just being very, how to say, proactive and keen to learn about different businesses, about different people. And I think these are the main qualities that we're looking for, but probably this is not exactly what you were asking me. So
no, it's, yeah, no,
so this was a commercial
actually,
for what you're recruiting.
No, it is. It's really interesting because we are all looking for innovative lawyers, always. But then how do you get at that, you know? How do you see that? Mario, how do you, what qualities do you look for in people you hire?
Well, I think one quality we certainly want from people is their eagerness to learn and ideally a demonstrated ability that they can learn If we're hiring someone junior, I would say we are one of the probably rare companies that does look at academic record. We look at your university kind of results. We look at your school state exams, because that reveals a lot to us. If there's someone who's finished a school in Lithuania with like 90+ scores from the state exams, I can be virtually certain that that person will have ability to learn, to absorb information and to learn. You know, that doesn't just say a lot about innovativeness, let's say, about that individual, but you know, that's a quality we look for, and it works. And then we look at, you know, if it's a kind of more senior hire, we want the person to have the ambition to be good at what they do. If you are a salesperson, well, we expect that you will want to be a great salesperson. If you're an IT developer or a compliance rep, we expect that you want to be like, you know, the best out there. Well, there is no guarantee that the performance of a candidate in an interview will meet their performance, you know, afterwards. But that's something we try to look out for.
How do you know if they want to be the best out there?
Feel.
Agnė.
Okay, so from our perspective, I would very much add to the willingness to learn. But first of all, it's an inquisitive mind. And if someone wants to get things done and do things as well, we're very much focused from all the levels, like managerial or to specialist. We are hands-on, each of us. So we never do like, oh, someone will do the thing and I'm just going to sit there and wait. So I think those people with a can-do attitude is something that is really important for us. And obviously the experience, but as I mentioned, the person who has different experience from different backgrounds and is, well, not only willing, but being able to use these experiences. And the last one is simply empathic people, so people who can think from other perspectives, because when we look at our industry and product, we need to be inclusive. So when we talk about other social diverse people or like men, women, disabled, like other genders, other like cultures, we need to think how we make the product and services available to all. So that's a very important thing for others to think about others from other perspectives and ask questions as well.
Yeah, well.
If I could add to
yes,
this point
please
just very shortly. So I would turn this question upside down and say that not only it's important what employers are looking for the people, but actually employers themselves are able very much to change how these people are acting in their working environment. And from our investors, we see that very often, you know, they recruit people from, let's say, more commercial banks and companies, and they seem to be, how to say, a bit lost and kind of put in the very tight framework and not even, how to say, maybe not having an opportunity to think outside of the box. And being employed in these fintech companies, after some time, these people then suddenly reveal amazing qualities that they have in their personality. So it's very often, I think, for the employer as well to reveal these good qualities in the person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, if you have to be responsible for AML, it's not always advisable to think outside of the box too much. so you shouldn't be too harsh with people who work in highly regulated industry.
I would actually disagree with that, because I think with the compliance, we on purpose look at people who have different, you know, they can think about how business operate and because there's so many things they need to know and be curious about. Yes, they need to obtain, you know, use the rules, but every rule can be applied differently by a different person as well. So I would go with a compliance who's very creative and who still is compliant.
No, absolutely, Agnė, yes. Well, my jokes are falling flat today, so sorry for that. Okay, we have about 1 minute, so I don't know if there's some appetite for questions from the floor. Or are you tired, or what happened? No, okay. Well, but then let's go to maybe the last question from my side. How do you keep the people? You know, I don't know what's the lifespan of a person with you, with your organizations, but sometimes it's not very long, you know? Like I talked to one really famous, and large and very interesting business, and they said, you know, a lifespan of a person in my organization is 1 year. So I skipped the training department because there's no point. So how do you, I mean, what is the lifespan of people within your organization and how do you keep them?
Can I start on this? Because I've just been to the other conference today about talent retention as well on the sector. So, well, our message is we don't keep them, because I think like there are people who are at the right place at the right time. And this is the message that we tell to our people. You're here to do the best you want, you can. And when you feel you don't want to contribute, you know, it's up to you. Obviously, we do have a lot of training because we need, you know, we want people to be the best at what they do and enjoy what they do. And that's only possible if they learn, if they have training. But really, there's no purpose of keeping, and it's for us. It's important to help them to reveal the best they can. Sometimes people get lost, especially after the quarantine. There's a lot of questions why I do, and there's a lot of people changing completely their lifestyles. But in general, I think at our work, it's important as like leaderships and managers to help them to find their way and to reveal the best they can. And if they can't, if they don't want to, then it's fine to go. There's no purpose of keeping for a long time because the industry is revolving and developing so fast, really.
Thank you, Agnė. Mario.
To a degree, I would probably agree with Agnė. I mean, in the UK, we had a period when, like, as an early stage startup, you can't really afford, competitive salaries at that local stage. We were hiring, just like recent students or like part-timers who were studying, but were looking for quality candidates. And, once those people, let's say, graduated, we were not able to keep them, but they went on to work in hedge funds, investment banks, key kind of financial institutions. And we were very happy that on their LinkedIn profile, their previous employer is AKP, and right now they're with Goldman Sachs. In that case, you don't really keep them. You let them fly, higher. But at the same time, it's not that you want your people to leave. So, you're doing things that are in your control. So we're still a small organization enough to care about people. And we try to show them that we care. We try to adapt their personal circumstances. More often than not, that helps.
Thank you. Rugilė, would you like to add something?
I will add, because from our investor perspective and the fintech companies, foreign fintech companies that are established in Lithuania, I've noticed the tendency that there are some important things that they can do and how to say, not to keep them, but basically provide environment where they can flourish. So basically it's a trust, being able to trust your employees here in Lithuania, and also giving space for them to explore different options within the organization, and kind of just giving the resources for them to grow. So I think that's the most important thing, giving them challenge, and these kind of organizations that provide that are managing to maintain their employees longer than those that are micromanaging.
Thank you. Thank you, Rugilė. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, very big thank you, Agnė. And I know it wasn't easy, but it didn't look like it wasn't easy for you. So thanks a lot. And let's give a big round of applause for the panel.